It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Sportsnet LA presents the Dodgers as they take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you on this Friday night, wherever you may be. We're here happily ensconced with the Pirates, Game 2 of the 4-game series, and a game that should be extremely interesting because the starting pitchers share one thing. Not only the catcher, Drew Butera, but they also share the idea each one has pitched a no-hitter. For Francisco Liriano, with the Pittsburgh Pirates, his no-hitter came when he was with the Minnesota Twins, and the only time the Dodgers saw him was way back in 2006 when he did pick up a victory. And the same story goes with the Dodgers. Josh Beckett had his no-hitter the last time he pitched against Pittsburgh. He was with the Florida Marlins. That's back in 2004. For the Bucks, by winning last night, they snapped a 9-game losing streak at Dodger Stadium. They're still 7.5 games behind Milwaukee. And for the Dodgers, they really had a bet start thinking about things because they have just finished, whether they like it or not, 1/3 of the season. And they are 6.5 games back of the Giants. We'll get to the ball game. The notes will have a whole lot more coming up right after this. be. Lovers sunny night here in Los Angeles. Josh Beckett making his way to the mound as the Dodgers run to their defensive position. For the Dodgers, welcoming Clint Hurdle to the ballpark. Clint Hurdle, his lineup card features the same players last night with the exception of the pitcher, and he's very animated and laughing as usual. Big, good-natured outfielder. He looked like, I'll tell you the truth, he reminded me, if I look at his old pictures, of Mike Trout. He was that handsome a player. Big, perfect, and at 20 years old, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But his career never panned out the right way. But as a manager, here's the card that he presented at home plate and the names thereon. Josh Harrison leading off in right field. Neil Walker at second base with a 10-game hitting streak. Andrew McCutchen in center field. Ike Davis will be at first base. Russell Martin behind the plate. Pedro Alvarez, the home run hitter, at third. Starling Marte in left field. Clint Barmas at short. Francisco Liriano, the left-hander on the hill, he'll be batting ninth. For the Dodgers, coming out to start is Josh Beckett. And remember, Beckett coming off a no-hitter 5 days ago. Just to check the dates again, when Johnny Vandermeer had consecutive starts and pitched a no-hitter each time. He did it on the 11th of June in 1938 in Boston. And on the 11th, you see, it was 4 days later, the 15th of June, Vandermeer came to Ebbets Field and pitched a no-hitter. And that's a record that will rarely, if ever, be set, never mind broken. So for Beckett and for any pitcher, including Liriano, but now for Beckett only, he goes to the mound with a shot at one of the most precious jewels in the game, one you really can't expect to see. But nevertheless, it's a thought. Consecutive no-hitters. Josh Harrison, Neil Walker, Andrew McCutchen in that order. Harrison, right-hand hitting outfielder, takes a strike, and the count 0-1. His uncle is John Shelby. John, who played here, coached here, will never be forgotten. What a sweetheart of a guy. The strike one pitch, Josh not quite ready and backs out. 74 degrees at the start of the game. It's idyllic. Change up, floats in for a strike at 72. Well, it was A.J. Ellis, basically the one who implored Beckett to really trust his breaking stuff. And as the season went along, he did. Line drive on a fastball, but it's right into the glove of Matt Kemp. Matt had to duck a little bit. This is a tough time, especially for the left fielders. Here are the Dodgers defensively. Van Slyke and Gordon, Ramirez and Figgins, Kemp, Ethier and Puig, Butera handling Beckett. It is very tough in left field. Not only do you have the lights up on the roof, but the sunlight is still washing the upper deck. So as you're looking in from left field, straight across first base, that's what you see. And of course, it looks a lot easier on television. You don't get the glare. Another changeup, this one to Neil Walker in for a strike. No balls and one strike. So Beckett, years ago, of course, was a hard-throwing right-hander out of Texas. Now he has a lot of curves and change-ups. He misses away, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Josh Beckett, in his memorable performance last time out against Philadelphia, he made 128 pitches. In fact, they were surprised he would go to the mound, but then again, they thought better of it since he was working on the no-hitter. Ground ball to Gordon. That'll take care of Walker. Quickly 2 out in the first inning, and the batter is Andrew McCutchen. They asked Beckett, how did it feel the morning after pitching the no-hitter? And of course, Josh had spent a long time on an airplane. He said, it felt like I was hit by a truck. 128 pitches, that is a lot of pitches these days in this day and age of the hold pitcher and the closer. Andrew McCutchen, a big swing and a pass ball down and away. 0-1 the count. Another thing about Beckett, which is rather remarkable when you think about it, he needs 9 innings. Strike one pitch, ground foul outside of third. That was off speed. 0-2. So he's thrown really one fastball, and that was lined by Harrison to Matt Kemp. Off-speed pitches to Walker, off-speed pitches to McCutchen, and the count 0-2. Beckett won one game, 9 innings, from having 1,000 innings in his career. Remarkable, and of course, considering the serious operation he had. Another off-speed pitch inside. 1-2 the count. Waiting on deck, hitting behind McCutchen, Ike Davis. Beckett, both feet on the rubber, turns now. Right-handed delivers. Fastball fouled away, and that fastball about 84. So you're not going to see those 95s and 96s, but what they are seeing, they're strikes. 1-2 the count. Beckett, in his no-hitter, had 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. 1-2 pitch on the way. McCutchen tries to time it, and he's actually late. Foul ball, and Van Slyke comes over and picks it off in front of the Pirate dugout. Well, as Agatha Christie would say, that's 1. 8 to go, and at the end of half an inning, no score. Pirates fail to score in their turn. Now we'll take a look at the Dodger lineup. And leading off in his usual spot would be the second baseman, Dee Gordon. He'll be followed by Sean Figgins at third, Yasiel Puig in right, Hanley Ramirez at short, Matt Kemp in left, Scott Van Slyke at first, Andre Ethier in center, Drew Gutierrez the catcher, and Josh Beckett the pitcher. On the mound, Francisco Liriano, 6'2", 215. He'll be 31 years old in October. Coming off the best year of his career, really. Most wins anyway. Last year, he was 16-8. This year, off to a wobbly start, 0-5, and an ERA of 5. Francisco ready, and the pitch to Gordon inside at the shoulder, spins him out of there. 1 ball and no strikes. Dee Gordon, the firebrand for the Dodgers, last night had a single and 2 stolen bases, hitting .288. The next pitch to Dee, he takes a high breaking ball for a strike, and the count 1-1. So Gordon, the premier base stealer, 32 out of 35. Liriano looks in to get a sign. Francisco ready, and the fastball is low. 2 balls and 1 strike. In looking at Francisco Liriano's record, I guess in some ways it's no surprise that he is 0-5 at the early start of the year. In his career, Liriano is 5-17 in April, 13-12 in May, as Gordon swings, doesn't get it, and the count 2-2. His best months are still ahead of him. In July in his career, 15-9, and in August, 16-6. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The next pitch is low, ball 3. The other shocker, and of course it's a change, it always happens, coming into this year, left-hand hitters were hitting .217 against him. Left-hand hitters this year are hitting .306. Big difference. Francisco from the Dominican, and the left-hander's pitch is rolled slowly up along first and goes foul. So we have a moment. Let's dig into Francisco Liriano's, what's going on this year with him. Number one, he gets the lowest run support for any starting pitcher in the National League. They've been giving him 1.5 runs during the innings he's pitched. He's averaged only a little more than 5 innings a start. He is still getting a lot of ground balls. He always was famous for that, and it's almost 2-1. So Francisco back up. D. Gordon goes deep in the count, 3-2. And the 3-2 pitch is low, and Gordon has won the battle. Liriano, and looking at what's been happening to him, and I guess it's a story of any veteran team. We'll take a look at the fellows behind him defensively. It's Davison, Walker, Barmes, and Alvarez, Marte, McCutchen, and Harrison. Martin behind the plate, Francisco on the mound. Liriano in his last 2 starts, 0-2, and an earned run average of 9. So here's Sean Figgins hitting .250, playing third base tonight for Justin Turner, and he takes one low and inside, ball 1, 1-0. Liriano at one time, of course, with Minnesota, and so when Sean was playing for the Angels, he knows a lot about this veteran left-hander. Gordon held on at first, Ike Davis holding the corner. Figgins hitting .333 against Liriano, and Francisco's fastball in for a strike, and the count 1-1. This year, Liriano has given up 2 home runs to left-hand batters and 5 more to right-handers. So he's given up 7. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gordon goes. The pitch is low. The throw is on a hop. Gets away from the cover man. And into second base is D. Gordon with a stolen base. Martin throwing on a hop, short hopping right at the runner. And as Gordon gets in, he's now 33 out of 36. Second baseman Neil Walker unable to handle the ball, so he has to go over and run it down. So Gordon trying to get to Liriano and to Russell Martin. 33 stolen bases. Now you have Figgins, Puig, and Ramirez trying to get him home. Liriano set, Francisco ready, and the left-hander delivers, and that's low, boxed by Martin. 3-1 to count. So Sean Figgins, little man who does a big job. Switch hitter, batting right-handed, 5'8" and 180 pounds, but by the time he bends his knees a little bit and waist, that strike zone kind of disappears. The 3-1 pitch on the way. He shows bunt and drops it in front of the plate. Picked up by Martin. No play. Let's see. I think that Figgins is going to be called out by the first base umpire, but I'm not sure why. Everything just stopped. Martin picked the ball up and turned around, and you think, well, maybe it's just a foul ball. But the first base umpire, Eric Cooper, made a fist and said out. Did the ball hit him? Did he run into it? There's the battle. I think he ran into the bunt. So if you run into your own batted ball and you're out of the box, you'll be out. And that's going to be the argument. Up here, you couldn't see him whether he ran into it or not. It looks like it might have gotten the inside of the right leg. They're going to continue to appeal, but Figgins is walking away as if to say it's over, so no sense arguing. But Mattingly is saying to the plate umpire, Paul Nowert, I mean, if it hit him, he was still in the batter's box. You're wrong, Mattingly said. You're wrong. However, the Dodgers will not protest it at all. Mattingly wants to make sure that Figgins would not be kicked out of the game. So it is a ground ball to the catcher. We'll give Russell Martin the put out. Figgins hit by his own bunt. Gordon takes third on the bunt. He'll take another look. He's in the box. He is out of the box. That's apparently, they think it hit his right leg. Right there. It's a tough call. One down. Gordon has to be sent back to second base. The ball automatically dead. And now Eric Cooper, the first base umpire, is coming, looking towards Mattingly. Mattingly hollering, so he's still angry over the call. So Gordon is back at second base. Running into your own batted ball gets John Figgins. And here is Yasiel Puig trying to pick him up. Puig checking in, hitting .348, 11 home runs, 40 runs batted in. Just to add a little pressure on the Dodger bench, the Giants are leading the Cardinals 7-0 in the sixth inning. The pitch to Yasiel, in for a strike, and the count 0-1. So the Giants just refuse to lose. They've won 4 straight. They're on the edge of winning their 36th game. So the Dodgers could ill afford to lose. They would then fall 7.5 games back. Strike one pitch with a dancing Gordon at second, and Puig fouls it back, and the count 0-2. The Yasiel has done such a great job, especially during the month of May. You know, with all the talk about him and all the plaudits, all the roses laid at his feet, he still hasn't spent a year in the big leagues. His anniversary will be coming up Tuesday, June the 3rd. He certainly accomplished a lot in a little time. The veteran Liriano looks back at Gordon with one out, and the strike two pitch coming up, and Puig takes way outside. 1-2 the count. So you have a ground ball pitcher and a veteran who's been pitching since 2001. Interestingly enough, Liriano was originally signed by the Giants. So Francisco looks in to get a sign. Takes a good long look at Russell Martin, and now he's ready. 1-2 pitch to Puig is a bad ball, chased and missed. So every now and then he shows that anxiety that kids have, trying to do too much, chasing a bad ball. And Liriano, who is a wise fox after all these years, just kept the ball down way off the plate and low. Puig went after it. So 2 down, and the batter will be Hanley Ramirez. Hanley Ramirez hitting .245, 7 home runs, 26 runs batted in. It has certainly not been the Hanley Ramirez of last year, and we're not just talking numerically. Liriano out of a stretch. Hanley waiting. Gordon, pretty good lead from second base. And the pitch to Hanley a little high. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. Liriano gets the majority of his strikeouts in the first 75 pitches of his games. He's made 17 pitches here in the first inning. Neil Walker bluffs to the bag, so Gordon has to retreat. Liriano backs off the rubber. Francisco double checking. Not ready to pitch, and Hanley waiting at the plate. No score, bottom of the first inning. Liriano's 1-0 pitch on the way, swung on and missed. Fastball on the outside part of the plate, and it just seemed to drop at the last minute. As we mentioned, Liriano basically a ground ball pitcher. He's been very wild. The rate of walks to plate appearances have not been very good at all, and to go with his 0-5 record, he has 5 wild pitches. 1-1 the count to Hanley Ramirez. Liriano ready, left-handed delivers, and that's in there for a strike, and the count 1-2. When Gordon stole, that was no surprise. Base runners have been stealing against Liriano. Though Francisco has the stolen base behind him. 75% the runner wins the battle for the stolen base. 1-2 pitch on the way, fouled off. Oh, it's still 1-2. Waiting on deck, Matt Kemp. No score, bottom of the first inning. Pirates win quietly and quickly against Josh Beckett. And now here's Francisco Liriano. And of course, you know the connection. Butera caught him when they were both in Minnesota. And then, of course, Butera caught Beckett. And Drew is catching tonight. 1-2 pitch on the way. Swung on, fouled at the plate. So Hanley is still there. Game 2 of the 4-game series. The Pirates are 5 games under 500. And the Dodgers now are only 3 games above 500. Jarrett Cole, who pitched so well last night, the pride of Newport Beach, down south in UCLA, turned in a good performance last night. Liriano really slowing the pace down, and of course Ramirez is not exactly a sprinter either. He's in and out of the box, fussing with the gloves. And now they hook up. Liriano ready, looks at Gordon, now works the plate, swung on and missed, the pitch down and away. So Hanley Ramirez strikes out, as does Yasiel Puig. Both men chasing pitches out of the strike zone. And at the end of an inning, no score. Ready to go to work. Beckett made only 11 pitches in the first inning to retire the side in order. Drew Butera, who had the honor of catching each pitcher, gets set, and the first pitch hits the target for a strike, and the count 0-1. Ike Davis. We mentioned last night that if you went into the Pirate dressing room to say hello, he would say shalom, the Jewish word for both hello and goodbye. I assume, in my total ignorance, it would be something like aloha, both hello and goodbye. Ike's name is Isaac Benjamin Davis, the son of right-hand pitcher Ron Davis, who spent about 11 years in the majors. Ike takes off speed and away. 1-2 the count. Davis played at Team USA in the World Cup back in '09, and at one time he was the top player in the Mets organization. He takes outside and low. 2-2 the count. As Ike said, his mother, the youngest daughter of Bernard Gollinger, is Jewish. His father is Baptist, and his mom's family was involved in the Holocaust. 3-2 the count to Ike Davis. Another note about him, his grandfather on his father's side was a paratrooper in the U.S. Army. Landed in France on D-Day 1944 and later helped liberate one of the concentration camps. He pokes one foul, and it's still 3-2. For me, it is certainly the most dramatic day of the year, every year on that day. Dodgers will not be home. They'll be in Colorado June 6th. That is or was D-Day. 3-2 pitch, fouled away again. So Ike Davis, the good-natured guy playing first base. He does not practice Judaism. He's non-religious. But as he said, I'm proud of my Jewish heritage. And how? So shalom to you, Ike. Welcome to Dodger Stadium. 3-2 pitch on the way. Beckett deals. Got him looking. Fastball on the outside corner at the knee. So shalom means hello and goodbye. It'll apply. One down. Fastball right there. I guess Ike, who is a big man, I mean, he's 6'4", and from where he was looking down, I'm sure he thought that was below the knees. So one away. And the batter now will be old friend Russell Martin. Russell takes a breaking ball strike. 0-1 the count. Martin hitting .256, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs, 1 for 3 last night with a home run. Off-speed breaking ball. That was 69 miles an hour. Russell almost came out of his beard. 0-2 the count. That had to look a little bit like a basketball. Look at those eyes wide open, but it's not there. 0-2. Strike 2 pitch on the way. Line to center. Bad pitch. I mean, no balls and 2 strikes. You get a pitch out over the plate, you deserve to give up a base hit. Certainly in the big leagues. So Martin says thank you very much. A 1-out single will bring up Pedro Alvarez. There it goes, and that'll be that. In case you were wondering, is he going to pitch another no-hitter? The answer is no. And you're never going to pitch a no-hitter anyway, getting the ball out over the plate. No balls, 2 strikes. So that thought's out of the way. Never mind Johnny Vandermeer and Ebbets Field, etc. Beckett now working on Pedro Alvarez, and he takes an off-speed pitch for a strike. Alvarez has 10 home runs, and he's capable of hitting them out. Alvarez homered in the 2nd inning last night against Dan Herron on a 1-2 pitch. Strike 1 pitch on the way. Beckett ready, comes back off speed and high. 1-1 the count. Calling the game, of course, Drew Butera. It's interesting to think Butera has only caught 172 games in his career coming into this game. And after 172, he's caught 2 no-hitters. Wow. 1-1 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, breaking ball down. 1-2 the count. So Beckett rarely getting that ball out over the middle of the plate. But when he does, he just paid the price. 0-2, and waiting on deck, Starling Marte. Butera checking over the dugout to see about Martin and a pitch out. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Instead, they throw over there. Russell Martin, the veteran catcher, so you don't expect too many stolen bases from him, and you get what you would expect. No stolen bases. However, with this count, all eyes on Alvarez, and it floats low and away. 2-2, and that was 73 miles an hour. It's probably easier to throw a strike with a fastball than it is to airmail those pitches. 69, 72, 73. Butera still checking, wondering about Martin. No score, second inning. Beckett watching Martin, still watching, and time called at the plate. Pedro Alvarez. He's the big boy. In fact, he is such a big star. They're all writing stories. He'll be with Pittsburgh through 2016. But they're all writing stories about when they're going to trade him. The 2-2 pitch on the way. There goes Martin, and a line drive foul down the line. Boy, that thing was crushed. Line drive foul. Yeah, Alvarez is signed through 2016, and the writer that I read from Pittsburgh was saying if he stays through 2016, the club certainly couldn't afford to pay him the money that he would be worth on the open market. So when are we going to get rid of him? That's a tough way to play, isn't it? Last year he had 36 home runs and 100 runs batted in. Beckett a high set. Martin is not going, and the pitch is in the dirt. Gets away. Butera chases, and Martin holds on. 3-2 the count. Beckett struck out Davis, gave up a base hit on a no-ball, 2-strike pitch, and he got out over the plate. And now he's gone all the way to Alvarez. 1 out. Martin has gone once. 3-2 pitch on the way. Martin goes. Alvarez rolls it foul. I was just thinking Pedro Alvarez, a left-hand hitting third baseman. The last left-hand hitting third baseman the Pirates had, he was a very funny guy and a very good player named Richie Hebner. I mean, you have to go back in the 1970s, but Hebner's job in the offseason, he was a grave digger. I mean, that was the job. I think his father owned the cemetery. 3-2 the count to Pedro Alvarez. Beckett another look. Martin's been going a couple. There he goes again. And the ball is hit in the air to right center. Ethier got the catch. He has a shot at a double play. Not in time. So Martin going 3-2. Just did get back. Head down, and Alvarez hitting that drive to center field. So 2 out in the second inning. Russell Martin holding at first, and the batter will be Starling Marte. M-A-R-T-E. Marte started this year with a lifetime career batting average of 275. He's one of those fellows who hit a home run on the first pitch he faced in the major leagues. Right-hand batter, and takes way outside, ball 1. The hit made Marte the third player in Pirates history to homer in his first at bat. First to do it since Don Leppert, and the first Pirate to homer on the first pitch since Walter Mueller back in 1922, so it's rare indeed. They signed him in March to a 6-year deal. Marte fouls it away, 1-1. So they have a belief in him and his ability. 6-year deal. He'll be 26 in October. So Martin's getting a workout over there at first. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. 2 out. Beckett, a high set, comes back to his hitter, and it's fouled off. And the count 1-2. No score. Top of the second inning. Game 2 of the 4-game series. Marte from Santo Domingo. His dad played third base for local amateur teams. And as a little kid, he started out as a shortstop. By the time he was 8-year-old, people recognized he had extra ability, much more so than the average 8-year-old. 1-2. No score. Second inning. Beckett out of his stretch. Looks over at first. And there goes Martin. The pitch is low. The throw is to the left. And the tag is brought down to go. So Martin trying for his first stolen base of the year. Drew Butera hangs him out to dry. Martin got a reasonable jump. Gordon was right there to handle the ball on the left, and then he brought it back into the runner. And we're going to the bottom of the second. No score. Followed by Scott Van Slyke and then Andre Ethier. For Josh Beckett, he had to labor a little bit in the second inning. A strikeout took up some pitches. Then the base hit, then the lengthy at bat against Alvarez. And with Marte up there, Martin is thrown out stealing. So Beckett made 23 pitches in the inning. That gives him 34 in 2 innings. Matt Kemp will start it off. Matt had a tough night last night, a very quiet 0 for 4. Struck out, did not hit a ball out of the infield. So against Francisco Liriano. So Matt checks in. Liriano, who hadn't pitched against the Dodgers since back in 06, gets a pitch in for a strike and the count 0-1. Matt trying to learn left field, bring back his top health. With a strike one pitch, fastball, he's late. Hits a slicing fly ball to right, caught by Harrison. So Kemp overpowered on that pitch, couldn't get around on it, and we have one away.
First baseman, number 33, Scott Van Slyke.
Scott Van Slyke coming up against Francisco Liriano. Liriano, by the way, was signed by one of the Dodgers' top scouts. At the time, Rick worked for the Giants. Liriano was signed by Rick Ragazzo for the Giants. And now Francisco ready to work on Van Slyke. Scotty takes low, ball one. They load up the left side of the infield. You know, we're always saying, in fact, we just finished talking about it. Every time a hitter comes up, 1-0 pitch, missing. Talk about he's one of the rare fellows who hit a home run on his first pitch and his first at bat. Liriano made his major league debut and gave up a home run in the first batter he faced. 2-1 the count. Comes as a shock, I'm sure. Dave Boswell, Bert Blyleven, and Oscar Munoz. The 2-1 pitch, high, ball 3. He gave up the home run to Gary Matthews Jr. Waiting on deck, Andre Ethier. 3-1 pitch to Van Slyke, check swing and a poor check. 3-2 the count. Gotti hitting .254. 4 home runs, half a dozen runs batted in. 3-2 coming up. Liriano delivers, strike 3 on the outside corner. Van Slyke had thrown his bat away, thinking it was ball 4. So Scotty gesturing. That's not a good idea to do. When you gesture, you begin to incite the crowd a little bit. Going away, Scotty has a couple of more words, and now goes back to the dugout.
16, Andre Ethier.
So with 2 down here in the second inning, the batter is Andre Ethier. Another strikeout for Francisco Liriano that gives him 3. Sean Figgins, remember, tried to bunt his way aboard and ran into the bunt. Here's the pitch to Andre. He shies away, but it's in for a strike. And the count 0-1. 2 outs, second inning, no score. You've had 1 hit in the game. A single by Russell Martin on a no ball 2-strike pitch. Little breaking ball in nicely. 0-2 the count. So Liriano been around long enough. Good fastball. He has a couple of changes. Curveball and a cutter. The strike 2 pitch is popped in the air, foul off third. Angling over is Alvarez and makes the play. So Ethier fouls out. The Dodgers go very quietly. And at the end of 2, no score. In the ball game, and a reminder, be sure to bring the kids to Dodger Stadium Sunday. Dodgers and Bucks at 5 o'clock, and the first 15,000 kids 14 and under in attendance will just look like the players with their replica batting helmet, compliments of Orion Choco Pie. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com promotions. Yes, you too can look great in a batting helmet. Third inning, no score. Starling Marte was up there waiting when Martin was thrown out trying to steal. Starling, big swing and a miss, and the count 0-1. Marty 6'2", about 180. Strike one, pitch on the way. He shows bunt, drops it foul, and the count 0-2. Last year with the Pirates, Marte had a very, very solid year. He had 280. He also had a dozen home runs, 35 runs batted in, and as we mentioned, they were so impressed, they gave him a solid 6-year deal. Those who have seen him a lot say he is a 5-tool player. Strike two, pitch down and away. Hit with power, run, throw, and catch them all. Yep, Dodgers have a 5-tooler in Puig. Andrew McCutchen certainly a 5-tooler in the Pirate dugout. The 1-2 pitch on the way, slow breaking ball away. You know, Josh Beckett with the no-hitter became the third active pitcher with both a no-hitter and a World Series clinching victory. The others are John Lester and Tim Lincecum. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way, and it hits him. So Marte hit by the pitch, and we have a runner at first and nobody out. Beckett, you may or may not remember, clinched the 2003 World Series for the Marlins when he shut out the Yankees in Game 6. The only other pitchers in history with both a no-hitter and a World Series clinching complete game shutout: Bill Dineen, Christy Mathewson, Lou Burdett, Bert Sagerhagen, Jack Morris, and Sandy Koufax. So Marte at first. Clint Barmes, the shortstop, takes a strike. He's coming off a solid game. Barmes last night had 3 hits. They couldn't get him out. Barmes playing for his big likable Clint Hurdle, also played for him in Colorado. Strike one, pitch on the way. And Beckett, as usual, holding the ball so long, he makes the hitter edgy. However, Barmes did not back out of the box. He's still in the box. Strike one, pitch coming up. Beckett backs off the rubber. We're in the third inning, no score. The Bucks trying to win their 25th game and avoid losing 30. Dodgers trying to win their 30th and avoid losing their 27th. Strike one, pitch on the way. Beckett delivers high. 1-1 the count. Two teams in trouble here. You wonder how either team could win a matchup here at Dodger Stadium, the way things are going statistically. Clint Hurdle, his team can't win on the road. They're 8-16. Don Mattingly, his team having trouble winning at home. There is no home field advantage so far. The Dodgers are 11-15 at home. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. The next pitch off the plate. To give that a perspective, the Giants at home are 19-9. And on the road, the Giants are 16-10. So you have a very good ball club that's successful both home and road. 2-1. We'll see if they put a play on here. Runner holding, and it's ball 3. So Beckett hits the lead man Marte. You have the pitcher Francisco Liriano on deck. Beckett ready, looks over at first. 3-1 pitch is high, ball 4. So he's dug a hole now. Hit batter followed by a walk. and Francisco Liriano coming up. The first thing you do is look up, well, how many bunts does Liriano have? He has one sacrifice. We'll see whether that applies or not. Liriano, having talked to Nick Leyva, the third base coach, coming up. I'm sure Liriano, considering the fact that he was an outfielder when he was signed by the Giants, considers himself a pretty good hitter. Well, with the bat, he is 2 for 17. However, in 17 at-bats, he's only struck out 3 times. Shows bunt, takes a high curveball that just drops in 65 miles an hour. So that's the slowest pitch that Beckett has made so far during the game. 0-1 to count. Dodgers look bunt. Van Slyke well in. Figgins caddy corner at third. Liriano now turns, shows bunt, tries to and misses. Throw down to second. Got him. Starling Marte is picked off second base. An arrow thrown by Drew Butera. Boy, there's nothing like the big leagues. And to see a big league catcher and a big league throw, it almost takes your breath away. Wow. So Starling Marte is picked off on a dynamite throw at the other end of it. Hanley Ramirez just tagged him on the elbow. Marte's the one guy who does all the running for the Bucks. He has stolen 12. So 1 out. Liriano still bunting and fouls it away. Well, he's done. And the batter now in a moment will be the leadoff man, Josh Harrison. So for a split second there, Clint Hurdle has runners at first and second and nobody out. And in the blink of an eye, Butera picks off Marte. Barmes walks, but Liriano strikes out. Second strikeout for Beckett. Josh Harrison hit the ball hard, a fastball in the first inning, and lined it to Matt Kemp. Beckett's slow breaking ball at 71 miles an hour. That line drive in the first inning is all part of Matt's education in left field. It's a different perspective, as we showed you if you were watching on television. First inning or so in left field, you're not looking at the sun. You're looking at the sunlit seats and fans. Pitch swung on and missed. A different perspective at center field at the same time. You do not see the setting sun. So you have yourself that birthday cake. Ethier has never had to real fight the sun, but right field, that's another story. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Off speed, whacked into left field, 72 mile an hour curveball. So Harrison a single to left. First and second, 2 out. So the pickoff by Drew Butera of Starling Marte has been a big play and has saved a run so far. Marte, the way he runs, he probably would have scored on the base hit. So Neil Walker coming up. Walker grounded out in the first inning. We told the story last night. It's no doubt worth repeating. Neil's father, Tom, was a pitcher, played a lot with Roberto Clemente, and played with Clemente in Puerto Rico during the offseason. And Clemente in December was beginning to load up to fly clothing and food to hard-pressed people in Nicaragua. So Tom, who was very close to Roberto, said, well, I'll help you load the plane. And when they got the plane all loaded, Tom said, you know, Roberto, I'm going to come with you and help you unload. And Roberto said, no, Tom, it's New Year's Eve. This is a lovely city. Stay back, celebrate the new year. So Tom Walker went back home. Roberto got into the plane, and that was the end of Roberto and the story. 1 ball and no strikes to Neil. Beckett ready. Here he comes. Shoots a fastball in there. Got a 92-mile-an-hour fastball in there. The pattern has been set. Most pitchers have to spot their fastball. Once they get that ready, then all of the other pitches oblige. But with Beckett, it's the other way around. A lot of slow curveballs, few changes, and then occasionally zip the fastball. 1-1 the count. Josh checks the runners, comes back off speed, and that's whacked down the right field line. Puig over to pick it up. 1 run will score. The throw will be cut off by Van Slyke. Over to third base goes Harrison. So finally, with everything else they've gotten, the Pirates get a run, and it's Neil Walker who singles to right to drive it in. Clint Barmas brings the run home. Slow breaking ball, and he just hooked it into right. Puig over, and what he does is he makes the smart play. He's going to hit it to Scott Van Slyke and let him make a decision on the infield. So first and third, Walker a solid player. Last night he had 2 singles, scored a run. So in the inning, Pirates have had a hit, batter, and a walk, and 2 singles. Put it all together, 1 run, and now their number 1 man, Andrew McCutchen, at the plate. Beckett ready and delivers, and that's a strike. And the count 0-1. Andrew McCutchen, a multi-talented player, a Gold Glover. They were so impressed with him, as with everybody else, he was signed to a 6-year extension. Strike 1 pitch to Andrew. He takes way off the plate. By the way, the Giants are breezing. You get the feeling they never lose. Well, they're leading the Cardinals 9-0 in the 8th inning. The Bucks are coming up with clutch hits. Yes, the Bucks. Last night and again tonight. The 1-1 pitch to Andrew McCutchen, fastball away, came up there at 93. The Bucks have had 5 hits with runners in scoring position in the series, and all with 2 outs for a run. So they struggle, but they finally get the run in and lead 1-0. First and third, 2 out. McCutchen fouled out to Van Slyke in the first inning. Andrews swings and misses, and the count 2-2. Andrew McCutchen 2 years ago, through 100 games, was batting .373. That's the highest average for a Pirate player after 100 games since the great Paul Wainer, all the way back in 1937. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. So the deuces are there, and the off-speed pitch is pulled foul. Yes, the Wainer brothers, Paul and his brother Lloyd, in their heyday in the late 70s, late 37s and 8s. Paul was known as Big Poison. And naturally, Lloyd was Little Poison. But boy, they could hit. Beckett ready. Here he comes 2-2. Runs it away. Ball 3. So now it's a moment of truth. And Gutierrez keeping everybody alive. The runner at first. Walker will be going. 3-2. 2 out. And it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. So a big moment of truth now for Josh Beckett. Walker at first. Harrison down the line from third. And Andrew McCutchen working on a 3-2 count. Beckett delivers, runner going, and it is fouled away off to the right and out of play. Beckett's breaking ball, that pitch anyway, had some late break to it. McCutchen waited, and then when he finally went after it, the ball was breaking, and he fouled it way off to the right. So crank it up, try it again, 3-2. Beckett's 27th pitch in the inning. 3-2. Walker ready. There he goes. McCutchen takes a check swing. It hit the bat, caught by Butera, and it's strike 3. McCutchen is saying, no, it hit me. And now here comes Clint Hurdle. Paul Nauert, the plate umpire, listening to McCutchen, and Hurdle making sure he's not going to lose the team's MVP. McCutchen was the MVP last year. You can take a look at the pitch. He'll step into it. He thinks it grazed him, and the plate umpire said it grazed the bat. Butera caught it, and it's going to be ruled a foul tip. And it looks like that brief discussion and argument is coming to an end, maybe. Still waiting to see. I don't want to break right away, not while this is going on. So all of the umpires are in. Finally, the players are going to take their position, so we'll be right back after this. Pitch. Plate umpire Paul Nauert thought that the pitch hit the bat, was caught by Butera, and so he's out on strikes. Still 1-0 Pittsburgh, and the first pitch to the backstop, ball 1. With Drew Butera, and we talk about the fact that when he was with Minnesota, he caught Liriano's no-hitter, and with the Dodgers, he handled Josh Beckett. And you might wonder about what's the record. Pitch now to Drew, high and away, ball 2, 2-0. The record for no-hitters caught, 4. Jason Varitek of the Boston Red Sox set the record with 4. The next pitch misses. Ball 3. 13 other catchers have caught 3 no-hitters. Jeff Torborg, Del Crandall, Alan Ashby, Yogi Berra, and Roy Campanella. Meanwhile, it's a 3-1 count now. The scoreboard is incorrect. 3 balls and 1 strike. Okay, they've corrected it. And the next pitch swung on, hit the shallow center. Here comes McCutchen, and he'll have to play it on a bounce. So Butera, pop fly single to center. And the batter now will be Josh Beckett. The Pirates in the 3rd inning had 2 hits, a hit batter, and a walk. 2 men struck out, and it wound up a workhorse of an inning for Josh Beckett. He made 27 pitches in that previous inning. So Josh, the hitter, has made 61 pitches, and we're only in the 3rd inning. They're asking him to bunt. Josh tries to get it down, and it's foul. Martin doesn't play umpire. He just picked it up and fired, but the ball was foul. No balls and 1 strike to count. So Butera back to first. Beckett back up to the plate. Beckett, by the way, has 2 sacrifices. No balls and 1 strike. Right fielder Harrison is playing almost first base to cover. The pitch is low. Harrison right now is on the foul line going back. So that's as shallow a player as you will see in the outfield. But he wants to be covering first base. That way the first baseman, Ike Davis, can have a jump on the bunt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Beckett bunts foul. 1-2. Most bunters, let's say you're a right-handed bunter, will run the right hand all way up near the barrel of the bat. That last bunt, he wasn't close to doing that at all. Let's see if he does it at all. Maybe he likes to keep his hands out of the action. See where the hand is? It's not up on the barrel. Still on the thinner part of the handle. Lorenzo Bundy checking to see if the bunt would still be on. Beckett is 2 for 18, and he has struck out 6 times. See if they'll have him bunt. Yep. 3-2. So Liriano, one certainly of the reason why he is 0-5. He has been fighting his control. He's walked 29. Now 3-2. They're going to hold the corner on Butera. We're watching. No one else is moving, and it's going to be strike 3 called to Beckett. So with all of that, down goes Josh, and the batter will be D. Gordon.
Dodger second baseman, number 9.
4 strikeouts for Liriano. D. Gordon coming up with some cold hard facts. Back in 2011, he stole 24 in 56 games. 2 years ago, 32 in 87 games. Last year, didn't have much chance to play. 10 steals in 38 games. And then there is this year. 33 stolen bases in 52 games. High, slow chopper to Walker. They'll get 1, that's all. So if nothing else, with a guy like Gordon, he hits into a force play for the second out. But immediately you're wondering, well, okay, the bases are clean, and he's at his best. So Butera goes back to the dugout. Sean Figgins comes to the plate. And we'll see what happens with D. Gordon. Stole second in the first inning. Last night, he singled to center and stole second and stole third as well. So Gordon off the bag. As we mentioned, Liriano has not been what you call a good holding pitcher. The degree of success against him, 75%. So 3 out of every 4 runners taking off have been successful. So if there's a chance, you can bet Gordon will go. They know it, and they're going to keep an eye on him. Gordon stole in the first inning. So Liriano has given up 85 stolen bases, so there's extra pressure on Russell Martin as well. And a strike. For Figgins, he's figuring with a guy like Gordon, I'm going to get fastballs. They want to hurry the ball to the catcher. He also has to wait and see, and he waited on the first pitch. Gordon did not try. Neil Walker is up the middle almost, so he has a short journey to the bag. And there's a line drive speared by Barmes. So Clint Barmes takes a base hit away from Figgins. The Dodgers leave Gordon without even a chance to steal. And at the end of 3, 1-0 Pittsburgh. Brought to you by Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. Now at your Honda dealer. 4th inning, 1-0 in favor of Pittsburgh. We'll see just how weary Josh Beckett might feel. He's made 61 pitches. In fact, 50 pitches in the last 2 innings. And it's got Davis, Martin, and Alvarez in that order. Fastball, strike. Ike, 3 home runs, 16 runs batted in. Off speed at 69, so he went from 91 to 69 back to back. Off the plate. And a high drive to center. Ethier going back. He's quit on it. It's gone. So Ike Davis hits one over the center field fence, and the Pirates lead 2-0. Ike now has a total of 4 home runs, his 3rd as a Pirate. So after striking out in the 2nd inning, he got a fastball. It stayed straight right out over the plate, and it went right out over the wall. Ethier started back and then just quit. Had to watch it, and it left the park. So Davis, the home run. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Pirates. For Josh Beckett, that would be the 8th home run that he's allowed. And the pitch in for ball 1 to Russell Martin. Almost hit him. One ball and no strikes. And a strike. Russell singled on a no-ball 2-strike count in the 2nd inning. Dan Herron had some bad counts, and he gave up base hits. Several of them were 0-2. One of them 1-2. That's in there. So 1 ball and 2 strikes to Russell Martin. Slow breaking ball, charging is Figgins. Throws high. Got him anyway. Scott Van Slyke just did come down on the bag. See if he hurt himself a little. Something hurt. So he went up in the air, and I guess when he hit, he's not rubbing, but you know he's hurting. Let's take a look. Figgins throw on the run. Up goes Scott hits the bag. Might have got stepped on. Martin hustling down. That's probably what it was. Yep, got him, I think, on the little toe. So Martin is out, 5-3. Van Slyke will cancel ballet dances for a while. 0-2 the count to Pedro Alvarez. Bucks lead 2-0. Remember, the Dodgers beat them 9 straight here at Dodger Stadium until last night. Strike 2 pitch on the way, and he misses, and down he goes. So with 2 out, Starlin Marte coming up. 4 strikeouts for Josh Beckett.
Left fielder number 6, Starling Marte.
Starling Marte hit by a pitch, eventually picked off on a great throw by Drew Butera. Beckett has allowed 2 runs and 4 hits. Marte way out in front of that. 0-1 the count. Ike Davis cooling off after his 4th home run of the year. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Bucks are going to be here tomorrow and Sunday. And then the Chicago White Sox. They'll be here starting Monday night. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Change up at 71. Talk about spotting your fastball, using it occasionally. Hurdle and the Bucks are seeing a lot of off-speed pitches. But they're still out in front, 2-0. Another curveball. 2-2 the count to Starlin Marte. Waiting on deck, Clint Barmas, who doubled, scored a run, took a base hit away. Fastball in there. So the veteran can certainly confuse the kids, but he didn't confuse Ike Davis. And Davis unloads over the center field fence. And at the end of 3.5 innings, 2-0 Pittsburgh. And family to Dodger Stadium tomorrow for a baseball and a movie. The second date in the Dodger Stadium movie series features the film A League of Their Own. The movie will begin after the game with the Pirates. For more information and tickets, visit Dodgers.com/movie. movie. Yasiel Puig, Hanley Ramirez, and Matt Kemp. Dodgers have one hit, single to center by Drew Butera in the third inning. Ike Davis hits a home run to make it 2-0 Pittsburgh, and the stage is set for Puig. 0-1. That home run by Ike Davis that cleared the center field wall and then cleared everything and disappeared out into the night. 453 feet. Shalom indeed. Beckett, by the way, made 16 pitches in the fourth inning. So that means 77 pitches in 4 innings. Liriano has made 47 pitches in 3 innings. Of course, for Liriano against Beckett, Liriano is winless over his first 11 starts this year. And he's winless in his last 14 starts. 0-5, but he's leading 2-0. Fastball, little dribbler. Liriano throws it away. Puig is on his way to second. Walker's throw is not in time. So the Dodgers looking for something to wake them up, something to light a fire. And it's Yasiel Puig. It's going to be 1-1. Base hit, tough to handle, and then Liriano just whirls and fires, and he's off mark. He threw behind Puig. By the time Walker went over to back up, his hurry throw was too late. So it'll be a base hit for Puig, an error charge to Walker, and just like that, the Dodgers have a man at second base, and Puig now has reached safely 31 straight. So the hit might be a modest thing and thine own, but for the Dodgers, it's something. They're down 2-0. Hanley Ramirez struck out in the first inning. Ball one. Ramirez, last night's game, 1 for 4, had a base hit. He also had a stolen base. And on the outside corner, Francisco Liriano from San Cristobal in the Dominican Republic. Yasiel Puig reaching second base. First time the Dodgers, outside of Gordon stealing it, have worked their way there. Bad pitch away. I don't know if Hanley was really looking at that pitch. He certainly didn't have his head in there. He's going to chase. And you can see the head. Wow. A dancing Puig. Boy, whatever it is with Hanley.
Left fielder, number 27.
So Ramirez strikes out a second time. That's 5 strikeouts for Liriano. And Francisco now facing Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp flied to right in the second inning, 0 for 1. One ball and no strikes. 2-0 Pittsburgh. Bottom of the fourth. 1-1. Francisco Liriano, by the way, welcome him to the club. He had Tommy John surgery. That's probably the #1 conversation in baseball today when baseball people get together. How come? Why? How many? Ball 2, 2-1. I remember back in Brooklyn, in all honesty, the pitchers were not happy with the trainer. Doc Wendler, a lovely guy out of Ohio State. And the Dodger pitchers in those days, sore arm or not, they would pitch. And they would wait either that Cincinnati Reds would come to Brooklyn or the Dodgers would go to Cincinnati in order to see Wayne Anderson. 2-1 pitch. 2-2, and then they'd go to Cincinnati and Wayne had rubbed them. I mean, there was no surgery. And then they would go back and pitch. Wayne Anderson, who was in the submarines during World War II, he came here and he became the trainer of the Dodgers. And the Dodgers trained in Florida, and big yachts were moored in the Vero Beach watering area. And there was a very wealthy couple on one of the yachts. And one way or another, they found out about Wayne, and he was invited on the yacht. And he was then the masseur for the husband and the wife. And the husband eventually died. So now he was the masseur for the widow. They were very wealthy. And the Dodgers were home here, came home after a road trip. This is a true story. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Matt Kemp. The crowd used to come, 4,000 or 5,000 people, to the airport to welcome the Dodgers home. And there was a maroon Rolls Royce by the curb. And the players, oh, wow, there's Sandy Koufax. Wow, there's so-and-so, Don Brosdale. And then all of a sudden the crowd saw this man getting into the Rolls Royce. Said, who's that? Oh, that's the trainer. Said, oh, really? Yeah, when we're talking about trainers, you know something's wrong here. And what's wrong is Ramirez and Kemp wall-to-wall strikeouts. So Puig, somewhat shocked, as if say, what's going on here? And the batter is Van Slyke. That's 6 strikeouts for Francisco Liriano. Scott Van Slyke, whom we believe was stepped on the play with Russell Martin, struck out in the 2nd inning. 1 ball and no strikes. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Pirates. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. Ike Davis homered in the 4th. One ball and no strikes. That's a strike. 1-1. Francisco Liriano, 31 years old come October. Been pitching professionally since 2001. Originally signed with the Giants. Came up for 4 games back in '03. Out in front of the plate, Martin says, don't worry, I'll take it. And he's true to his word. So the Dodgers get a squib single, a throwing error, and then Ramirez and Kemp strike out, and Van Slyke hits one about 45 feet. At the end of 4, 2-0 Pittsburgh. 2-0 in favor of the Pirates as we go to the 5th inning. Josh Beckett ready to go to work again, having already worked pretty hard. He made 77 pitches. Of course, talking about the pitch count, when Josh pitched his no-hitter, he made 128 pitches. That was a career high. Josh has been particularly tough with runners on the bases this year. With runners on, the batting average for the hitter 149. Ball one. With runners in scoring position, they're hitting just 140 against Beckett. And with runners on and scoring position and 2 out, they're hitting just 136. So he's been brilliant. For the Dodgers, they've been doing really pretty much the same thing with men on base. Nothing. Short hop by Figgins. Nice play. Barmes taps out, 1 away. Tonight, the Dodgers, with runners in scoring position, are not only 0 for 6, they're not even making contact. 0 for 6, 4 strikeouts. Puig came up with Gordon at second and struck out in the 1st inning. Ramirez came up in the 1st inning with Gordon at second, and he struck out. And then Puig gets on again in the 4th, and Ramirez and Kemp strike out. Liriano tried to bunt and struck out in the 3rd inning. Final score, like Old Man River, the Giants keep rolling along. They beat the Cardinals 9-4. Madison Bumgarner over Adam Wainwright. 2-0. In there, 2-1. We were talking earlier about the hits. Beckett giving up his first hit to Martin on a no-ball, 2-strike count. Fly ball to center. Ethier waits for it to come to him. 2 down. Beckett has given up hits on the following counts: no balls and 2 strikes, 1 ball and 1 strike, 1 ball and 1 strike, and then he fell behind 2 balls and 1 strike, and that's when he gave up the home run. Dan Aaron last night, he had an 0-2 count. Well, he had a bunch of low counts and gave up a home run on a 1-2 pitch and a 1-1 pitch. Oh, 0-1 the count to Josh Harrison. Lined out to left, single to left. Then Walker single to cash in Barmes. And he's going to get another base hit. So a 2-out single by Josh Harrison.
Second baseman, number 18, Neil Walker.
Neil Walker has grounded out single to right. When the Dodgers come up in the 5th inning, Ethier, Gutierrez, and Beckett. Walker hitting .282. Been some mighty fine players to wear the Pirate uniform. In fact, the Pirates have had 25 batting titles. Hard curveball, but misses. Ball 1. 1-0. Of course, when you look back through the history books for Pittsburgh, and McCutchen is on deck, you start with Honus Wagner. There goes the runner. Harrison got an off-speed pitch, and they still get it. Great throw again by Drew Gutierrez. That was a lucky pitch to go on because it was a changeup, and Gutierrez just threw another dart. Harrison straight steal, and right there to tag him out. Big sweep. Hanley Ramirez. Still 2-0 Pittsburgh. to the clubhouse and join host Alana Rizzo. She goes one-on-one with Don Mattingly to get the inside scoop from the dining. Don't miss Dodger Clubhouse Monday at 5 on Sportsnet LA. Dodgers with a very sluggish offense. They've had 2 hits and a walk, a stolen base. However, the veteran Liriano has struck out a half a dozen. And Francisco working against Ethier, and he drives one to the gap in right center, and that's going to go to the wall. Andre into second base, beating Harrison's throw. So for the second inning in a row, the Dodgers get a man at second base to open it up, and it is the 3rd inning in a row where the leadoff man has gotten on. So the Dodgers thoroughly frustrating themselves up to now as Ethier doubles. Jamie Romack is going to come out and pinch hit, and Paul Maholm is warming up in the Dodger bullpen. For Andre Ethier, his 9th double. 2 triples, and we see Maholm. So now it's Butera, and it looks like Romax, and then Gordon. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Pirates. No runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. Ball 1 to Butera. One ball and no strikes. There's Jamie Romax after spending 12 years in the minors. Finally made it to here. For Beckett, the end, a brief end of a long night, I guess. 1-1. Josh made 88 pitches in 5 innings. He is the pitcher of record. So if the Dodgers wake up offensively, anything they get here will be to his credit. So he could still tie and get off the hook, or even have a possibility of a win. That's a strike. So Josh goes 5. He is 4 innings away from 1,000 in his career as he talks to Dan Herron. 1-2. Fastball slapped to right. Harrison plays shallow and makes the catch. So Butera, a good idea, hit the ball hard enough. Drew 1 for 2. Harrison right there to handle it. And now here comes Jamie Romack.
Pitch hitting number 35, Jamie Romack.
Jamie Romack appeared as a pinch hitter the other night against the Reds. Hit the ball sharply, 1 hopper to Brandon Phillips at second base. And his parents made the trip. They're from Canada, from London, Ontario. And after all those years of waiting, they finally see him in a big league game. 0-1 the count. Jamie is 6'2" and 220. He will be 29 the end of September. Good sinking fastball down and away. 0-2 the count. Had to be especially tough the other night. Not only did they announce him, but they announced and making his major league debut after 12 years in the minors. I mean, they really loaded him up. Look at the family. Oh, wow. That's his mom in the middle and sister on the left. Maybe we just watch them. Look at mom. Oh, wow. Life can be so cruel. All those dime novels. That's it, Mom. Cheer him anyway. So 2 down, and the batter will be Dee Gordon. And of course, for Romack, he goes back to the dugout. He doesn't have anything to apologize. I mean, he's joining Ramirez, who has struck out twice, Kemp, who has struck out, Puig, who has struck out, and they're the big money guys. 2 down, Ethier still at second, Gordon at the plate. Dodgers now are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position with 5 strikeouts. Gordon walked, hit into a force play. Ground ball smothered by Walker, who's looking at third, and so was Lorenzo Bundy. Walker's a smart player. As soon as he went after the ball, he knew, number one, no prayer to get Gordon, but maybe Ethier will round third. So as soon as Walker got his glove on the ball, he was looking at Ethier. And Lorenzo was looking at him. And so Andre did not make the turn. Watch Walker. This is a heads-up player. Looking at third, not even a look at first. Here comes Andre. And he did not take a big turn just as well. Walker was ready to pull the trigger. So a nice play by Neil Walker. He makes a lot of them year in and year out. Now let's see about Figgins. Will he give Gordon a chance to steal, or will he go after anything? Time at the plate. Why time? Beach ball, left field. Two out, 5th inning, 2-0 Pittsburgh. Took the strike. Gordon was not going. That's a big problem about hitting number 2. He's checking again with Bundy. Gordon held on by Ike Davis. There he goes. Pitch in the dirt. Not a chance for Martin. Figgins instinctively jumping up out of the way. And of course, had that ball hit him on the foot, the bases would have been loaded for Yasiel Puig. There's the pitch. Almost got him. Had he been able to somehow take one for the club. Instead, Gordon is now at second on the wild pitch. Ethier still at third. 1 ball, 1 strike, and first base open. Time. Mariano passing along to Walker. What Martin has in mind as far as the pitch. Now Walker immediately tells Barnes what it was. Get the message, pass it along. They're both deep. Tying runs at second and third with 2 out. Ball 2. Yasiel Puig, who has struck out and had an infield single, on deck. So a very big at-bat for Sean Figgins. Strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The deuces remain wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Dodgers have runners at second and third, and the Pirates lead 2-0. And it goes 3-2. Well, this is a huge pitch coming up. 3-2 with first base open and Puig on deck. Tough moment for Clint Hurter as well. And hit down the line, slicing foul, and out of play. So Harrison goes to the wall, but that's all. Still 3-2. So Efield will return to third. Gordon goes back to second. And Figgins with the most important bat of the night so far for the Dodgers, and a 3-2 count. Another foul ball. So Sean Figgins. This is a moment where the crowd will either go quiet or will set out a roar if Puig is able to come up. It's been an important at-bat for everybody, including Beckett, and this will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. And another foul ball out of play. So it's a 10-pitch at-bat. Two veterans locked in, Francisco Liriano and Sean Figgins. Figgins started playing professionally in 1997. Liriano professionally as a pitcher began in 2001. So they've been through the mill together. 3-2 the count. Wow. 11 pitch at bat. Figgins is playing tonight over Justin Turner. Turner was 1 for 2 against Liriano, but Figgins was 4 for 12, hitting .333 against Liriano. So Mattingly made the move, and now we'll see if it pays off. Figgins has grounded out. Remember, he ran into his own bunt and then lined out to short. 3-2. Fastball, he's won the battle. And the bases are loaded for Yasiel Puig. Well, the one thing that the fans were hoping for, they will see Puig coming up with the bases loaded. Ray Searage, the pitching coach for the Pirates, who pitched here for the Dodgers briefly. Ray going to the mound. Searage was here in 1989 as well as 1990. So Yasiel Puig with the Cuban music in the background. Ray Searage out of Deer Park, New York. Ray making his way back. Searage spent 7 years in the big leagues and pitched for 4 different teams. So he's departed. He's left his message. And now here comes Yasiel. And really, for the first time tonight, there's some life in the crowd. Ethier at third, Gordon at second, Figgins at first, 2 out, 2-0 Pittsburgh. So Beckett could even win the game, going the required 5, should Puig do something dramatic. Fastball, ball 1. Remember, Mariano came into the game with 5 wild pitches. And he made a wild pitch in this inning. He's now made a half a dozen, and he was just saved by Russell Martin. Yasiel struck out, hit a ball about 40 feet up along third, and beat it out for a base hit. Ethier, Gordon, and Figgins all out on the line. 2 out, 1 ball and no strikes. Off the plate. Showing some patience in this situation. 2-0. Kershaw, Beckett, Aaron, they pitch for a living, and they die along the way as well. Two and one. So the wily Dominican, 31 years old, facing the raw Yasiel Puig. Two balls, 1 strike. Bad ball. That's the way he was last year. He wants to do so much. And that pitch way out of the strike zone. Way over there. So he is still the young and the raw, slowly learning. And the veteran left-hander trying to teach him the ultimate message. Two balls, 2 strikes. Fastball popped up. That's all it is. Neil Walker is there. And the Dodgers lead 3 in the 5th inning. And at the end of 5, 2-0 Pittsburgh. In 1957, they did not come back to New York until 1962, and they came to play the expansion New York Mets. They went to the old Polo Grounds in New York. They played a doubleheader, and they beat the Mets. They were a terrible team, 13-0 and 6-5. But in the doubleheader, Maury Wills hit 2 home runs, one from the left side, one from the right side, and among other things, one of the 2, a home run inside the park. It was quite a return to New York. And with that, let's go back to this one. Two to nothing in favor of Pittsburgh. That was quite a sentimental journey. I mean, the Dodgers had not been back since 1957, and when they do come back, the old Polo Grounds in New York, it was great. A trip for me as well, as a kid born and raised in New York and grown up, really, in the old Polo Grounds. 2-0 Pittsburgh. Walker, McCutchen, and Davis against Paul Maholm. And ball one. That was a nice pitching duel, won by the pitcher Liriano. He made 26 pitches in the fifth inning to give him 89 pitches in the game. And by the way, if the Dodgers are not the worst team this year with the bases loaded, I'm not sure what team is. The Dodgers, with the bases loaded this year, are hitting 108. That would be 4 hits and 37 at bats. Foul ball out of play. Two runs, 5 hits for the Pirates. No runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. And a high fly ball to right center. Ethier along with Puig, and it's Puig. I think Yasiel is still disgusted with himself, striking out with the bases loaded. He's kind of walking around with his head down in right field. He is not a happy camper. Of course, that's another lesson. You got to turn it off and get right back into the game defensively. So 1 away, and here's Andrew McCutchen, fouled out, struck out, although he claimed he was hit by the pitch. Ball 1. Maholm, who spent a lot of years with Pittsburgh, he was a first-round pick by the Pirates, facing their first-round player. Right. Maholm pitched from 2005 through 11 with the Pirates, so he knows all these fellas pretty well. Fastball, got that in there. Maholm, basically a curveball pitcher. Another fastball. Gordon comes back to his position and makes the play. Andrew McCutchen was 0 for 4 last night, 0 for 3 tonight. When you can make Andrew McCutchen 0 for 7, you figure you're going to win a game. Well, the Bucks won last night, and they're winning today. Here's Ike Davis. Check his numbers. Baffled by left-handers, 0 for 15, and really does a great job against right-handers, batting .308. They stack up the right side. The only difference with this stack, a lot of times when the Dodgers load up the right side, the second baseman is 15 feet out in the outfield. Not this time. Gordon is right there in the middle at the edge. 2-0 to count to Ike Davis. Two down, top of the 6th. 2-0. Favor of the Bucks. That's a strike. A quick check throughout the major leagues. The Dodgers are the worst team with the bases loaded. And right behind them, as the next to the worst, the New York Mets. Who's the top? How about Cleveland? 429 with the bases loaded. Has it paid off for Cleveland? They're in last place in the American League Central, 8 games back with a 4-game losing streak. So what does it all mean anyway? Russell Martin waiting on deck. Breaking ball, little tapper. That's what you do. You load up one side, and there's no play on the other. So Ike Davis says, thank you very much. I have a base hit against a left-hand pitcher. Thank you. I am now 1 for 16. There's nobody over there. A check swing. He who hesitates gets a base hit. So Russell Martin now against Mahalam. Martin singled and grounded to third. Oh and 1. On deck, Pedro Alvarez. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 6th inning, it'll be Ramirez, Kemp, and Van Slyke. Dodgers in each of the last 3 innings. In fact, in 5 innings, the Dodgers have gotten the leadoff man in 4 of the 5 innings. And they've still been spinning their wheels. Gordon walked and singled in the 1st inning. Gutierrez singled in the 3rd. Puig singled in the 4th. Ethier doubled in the 5th. And they have nada. 1 and 2. Time, no pitch. Drew Butera asked for time. The plate umpire, Paul Nauert, pointing to him. Paul's a veteran umpire behind the plate, 14 years in the big leagues. Another foul ball. When Paul Nauert, the plate umpire, umpired his first major league game, he was in Philadelphia. A dad attended, and they left an empty seat for his mom, who had passed away and never had the chance to see him umpire in the big leagues. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nice save by Butera. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Mahalam trying to hold the fort against Liriano, who has the Dodgers shut down 2-0. Pedro Alvarez waiting on deck. Just missed with the fastball. So now 3-2. Davis will be going on the pitch. This close. Wouldn't bite. Slow curveball for ball 4. So 1st and 2nd with 2 out, and Pedro Alvarez coming up. The check swing, the hesitant swing by Ike Davis, and it produced a little roller to the left side, and there wasn't anybody there. So going 0 for 15 against left-hand pitching. Davis gets a base hit when he checks his swing. Pedro flied to center, struck out. And ball 1. Alvarez, big butter and egg man, he and Neil Walker. Alvarez 10 home runs, 28 runs batted in. Walker, 10 home runs, 28 runs batted in. Slow and high, ball 2. Two on. Davis at second, Martin at first, 2 out, and a 2-0 count to Alvarez. Fastball in there. Foul ball off to the left and out of play. Figgins over for a look. 2-2 to Pedro Alvarez. Alvarez last year, remember, 36 home runs and 100 runs batted in. Two and two. And ball 3. Mahalam a little annoyed at himself on that pitch. So he didn't want to, but he has gone 3-2. Waiting on deck, Starlin Marte. Runners ready to go. Davis and Martin. And a high fly ball, but playable to Mayfield. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left at the end of 5.5, 2-0 Pittsburgh. LA is driven by your Southern California Mazda dealers. The Pirates doggedly holding on to a 2-0 lead despite all the high enthusiasm of the Dodger fans of every age. And one reason weathering the storm is the veteran Liriano. Francisco having to work his way through a very delicate 5th inning, and then with the bases loaded and 2 out, he had to go head-to-head with Yasiel Puig, and he got him. Talking about getting him, he has certainly gotten Ramirez twice tonight on strikeouts. Liriano with 8 strikeouts. And here's Hanley. Struck out in the 1st inning with Gordon at second base. struck out in the 4th inning with Puig at second base. Ball 1. Hanley Ramirez will be 31 in December. Ball 2. Originally signed by the Red Sox as a free agent. From the Red Sox, he went to the Marlins and then came to the Dodgers 2012. Right, 2-1. Justin Wilson, a left-hander, gets up now in the Pirate bullpen. And the Dodgers respond. They get right-hander Chris Perez up. And a drive into left center. That's a base hit. It will go to the wall. Hanley on his way for 2 and will make it unmolested. For Ramirez, a long double against the left slant and a wall, and the batter is Matt Kemp. Take another look. Fastball up about belt high, and Hanley jumps on it. Drives it to the gap and has himself an easy double. For Ramirez, he has 17 doubles and 7 home runs. So again, the Dodger leadoff man gets on. So the Dodgers are violating all the rules as far as Liriano is concerned. The basic Pittsburgh commandment and every pitching commandment: get the leadoff man and get the first pitch for a strike. So Gordon in the first, Butera in the third, Puig in the fourth, Ethier in the fifth, Ramirez in the sixth. They have all led off and reached base. And there's a hard one, smothered by Walker, and throws him out. Taking third is Ramirez. So Kemp hits the ball hard, but to no avail. 1 down.
First baseman, number 33, Scott Van Slyke.
What is interesting for the Dodgers, and somewhat dismaying, with all the leadoff men getting on base, they've only had 2 get as far as third base. Ethier got to third in the 5th inning, and now Ramirez at third in the 6th. So 1 out, Scott Van Slyke, and then Andre Ethier. Ball 1. Two runs, 6 hits for the Pirates, no runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. Everything about the Dodgers is backwards this year so far. Remember, we tell you they lose at home and they win on the road. When they face left-handers, they are 1-5 against left-handers at Dodger Stadium. When the Dodgers go on the road, they're 5-1 against left-handers. So Matt Kemp, another tough at-bat, going 0 for 3. Looking quickly at the book, Matt Kemp 0 for 12. It's been a struggle. Of course, the only consolation, a lot of great players have struggled. I'll never forget the great Stan Musial struggling, and struggled so much that one night he came to the plate and made out in a tough situation, and the crowd booed him. Imagine booing Stan Musial in St. Louis. And the next day, a group of fans took an ad out in the paper to apologize. And so it's going here. 9 strikeouts for Liriano. And now let's see. Hurdle has a left-hander in the pen, and I think the pitch count tells him that's enough. 100 pitches is enough for Francisco Liriano. Remember, he is 0-5, looking for his first win. He was a 16-game winner last year. So he goes out leading 2-0, and we'll be back. To see what's in front of the Dodgers, games to be played. 2 more left with the Pirates. Tomorrow at 4, Sunday at 5, and then the Chicago White Sox coming in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night. Then the Dodgers go out on the road, and right now Justin Wilson, basically a fastball with great movement. He also has a curveball, a cut fastball, and a changeup. First thing he did was holler over to Ike Davis to look out for a bunt. So Ramirez down the line from third. Ethier trying to pick him up with 2 out. 0-1. Little note about Justin Wilson. Among other things, he was born in Anaheim. He's a 5th round pick out of Fresno State. 6'2", 220. He'll be 27 the middle of August. And Ethier fouls that away. No balls and 2 strikes. Francisco Liriano turns in a great performance. A shock when you looked at his numbers coming in. No wins, 5 losses. But he just spun the Dodgers on their ears. 9 strikeouts. Wow. Or is that the right word? 10 Dodgers have struck out. Liriano gets a hug. And at the end of 6, 2-0 Pittsburgh.
Is brought to you by the Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champion.
As we go to the seventh inning, it's never been more evident the Dodger offense struggling desperately. In 6 innings, they've had the leadoff man reach in 5 of the 6 innings. And with runners in scoring position, the Dodgers are 1 for 13 with 7 strikeouts. And the one hit was smothered, kept on the infield, and could not get a run home. In the 7th inning, Chris Perez becomes the 3rd Dodger pitcher. Chris will go up against Marte, then Barmes, and the pitcher you just saw, Justin Wilson. Marte hit by a pitch, picked off second base back in the 3rd inning, and struck out in the 4th. Two runs, 6 hits for the Pirates. No runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. Slider away, ball 1. Dodgers will see enough of left-handers. First Liriano, then Wilson. And another left-hander, Tony Watson, begins to warm up in the Pirate bullpen. Beaten foul. For Liriano, who started the game and came here 0-5, he was joining several very unsuccessful Pirate starting pitchers. The Pirates starting pitching staff, without Garrett Cole, without the others, they are 3-19. One ball and 2 strikes. Pirates overall have been playing very well of late. They've won 6 of 9. Just off the plate. Chris Perez out of Bradenton, Florida, a #1 pick by the Cardinals, went to school at the University of Miami. Same pitch, same result. Off the plate, ball 3. Three and 2. We're in the 7th. 2-0 Pittsburgh. A one-hopper. Hanley right there. So 1 out, 7th inning, and Clint Barmes coming up.
Batting next for the Pirates, number 12, Clint Barmes.
Clint Barmes walked, scored a run, and grounded to 3rd. Travis Snyder, whom we saw finish up last night in right field, comes out on deck. There's Travis. Barmes 0 for 1. Right. Oh, and 2. One out, 7th inning, 2-0 Pittsburgh. Slider away, 1 and 2. Fastball got him. But after a couple of sliders in a row, this time he came back over the plate, and down goes Barmes. So 2 out. Travis Snyder coming up. Travis Snyder is out of Kirkland, Washington. There are a lot of people who say He might be the best hitter to come through the state of Washington since Grady Sizemore. He's a big fella, 6 feet 235. At one time, he had the reputation of being a top football running back, but he broke his right ankle in spring training and gave up football. He's been very unlucky. You know, if you look at actuary tables, they can tell you there are people who are accident prone. 0-2 to Travis. Travis Snider, heck, he's only 24, just turned 25. He's been on the DL 9 times. So that football body, it hasn't helped him. Growing up, he committed to Arizona State, and he signed a huge bonus with the Blue Jays. He was the #1 pick, and they really thought they had themselves at least another Grady Sizemore, but it never quite worked that way. In 2010, he had 14 home runs in 80 games. Fouled away. Snider was signed in 2006. He's left-handed all the way. Two and two. And a lazy fly ball. Matt Kemp is calling. So a quiet inning as Chris Perez sets him down. And here come the Dodgers again. Bottom of the 7th, 2-0 Pittsburgh. Seventh inning, 2-0 in favor of Pittsburgh. Couple of changes by the Pirates. Travis Snider, who batted ninth, stays in the game to play right field. And Tony Watson, another left-hander, coming out of the pen. So Tony will bat in Harrison's leadoff spot. Watson's out of Sioux City, Iowa. Big fella at 6'4", 215, and went to the University of Nebraska. And his first pitch, a strike to Drew Butera. Butera has singled and flied out. Dodgers have had the leadoff man on base 5 of 6 innings and still groping for a run. 0-2. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Brian Wilson begins to loosen up. And that will do it for Butera. So with 1 out in the 7th, Brian's getting ready. And here comes Justin Turner. He will hit for Perez. Sean Figgins had better numbers against Liriano. Figgins was 4 for 12, so they started Sean at third base, and Turner sat down. So now here's Justin as a pinch hitter. One ball and no strikes. Two runs, 6 hits for the Bucks. No runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. And they count 2 balls and no strikes. D. Gordon on deck. D. Gordon has walked on an infield single. Twice has gotten to second base. Fastball, good one. Tony Watson, he'll be 29. And that's fouled away. In fact, just looking back at the books, his birthday was yesterday. Tony Watson, out of Iowa. Big swing, long swing, as they say. And down goes Turner. So the last 4 Dodgers in a row have gone down on strikeouts. Van Slyke in the 6th, Ethier to end the 6th, and then Butera and Turner here in the 7th. Gordon walked and stole second, hit it into a force play in the 3rd inning, and never could get a jump as Figgins lined out. Then had an infield single in the 5th inning. They wild pitched him to second. So he's been on base 3 times, but he's only really had 1 chance to steal, and he's 1 for 1 in that regard. Stolen 33 out of 36. Neil Walker. So the Dodgers are just tiptoeing at the end of 7. 2-0 Pittsburgh.
At LA is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box and try the new Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. It's Jack's hottest sandwich yet. And by the Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champion.
We've arrived at the 8th inning, and so is Brian Wilson, and the Pirates leading since the 3rd inning. Brian Wilson 0-2 in his 23rd game, and he'll be facing a pinch hitter, Jose Tabata, who will be batting for Watson in the leadoff spot. So Wilson's job is just to get the hitters and keep the Dodgers in the game. But so far, the Dodgers flailing, swinging away, and have come up empty. Off speed inside, ball 1. So Jose Tabata, he's from Venezuela. 5'11", 215. Originally signed by the Yankees. 1-1. He grew up a fan of Roberto Clemente. In fact, he even has a tattoo on his left side of his chest that bears an image of Roberto. That's going to go down the right field line. In pursuit is Puig, back in the crowd. By the way, about that tattoo of Clemente, he had a Spanish inscription above it that read, "For my father." Well, he eventually had it removed last year. The reason he put that, it was his father who was the big Clemente fan. One ball and 2 strikes. Little nubber down to get it is Wilson, and it's dropped at first. So Tabata is aboard on the error charge to first baseman Scott Van Slyke. Looked like he had it all the way. Gloved it, closed the glove, and the ball popped out. For the Dodgers, that would be their 44th error. So Tabata at first, and here is Neil Walker. And a strike. Tabata has 1 stolen base, 1 for 2. 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Pirates. No runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Dodgers. Pulled foul deep in the lower deck. 0-2 the count to Neil Walker. Grounded to second, single to right, fly to right. Waiting, hitting behind him, Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen has had a very quiet series. 2 games, no big deal there. McCutchen 0 for 7 in the 2 games. Ground ball, backhanded, gets 1, they get 2. Wow! Another dazzling play. D. Gordon somehow got the ball to Ramirez. We'll have to take another look to see how in the world D did that. Smothers, somehow the ball got at least in the neighborhood of Ramirez, because the ball was in the heel of his glove when he flipped, and it landed at Hanley's feet, and they turned the double play. So D. Gordon at it again. 2 down. Now McCutchen. Gordon doing a wonderful job. He's really grown both offensively and defensively. 1-1 the count to Andrew McCutchen.
Usually, if you can figure a way to shut down McCutchen, you stand a reasonably good chance of shutting down the Pirates. Three and one. McCutchen last year hit .317. Another good ball player. Spectator tonight, Adrian Gonzalez. Fastball fouled away. McCutchen is only 5'10", so that would be a small outfielder as big leaguers go. 5'10", 185. Last year's MVP. 21 home runs, 84 runs batted in. Off speed, ties him up. Foul ball. McCutchen is such a wonderful athlete. In high school, he was best known for football. He was a standout wide receiver, and he injured his knee on a rainy night his sophomore year. It made him reflect on the injury and what his future would hold as a football player, and he decided to stay with baseball. After all, he was a player who led the county in batting, a .507 batting average, breaks his bat and drops it foul. He had that .507 batting average as an 8th grader. So McCutchen will have to get a new bat. So with baseball and football and with his running ability, he naturally also ran track. McCutchen last year, 27 stolen bases. He's had as many as 33 in the big leagues, 34 in the minors. So he is quite an athlete, quite an all-around player. Three and two. Fastball missed. Well, Wilson tried to hit the corner, couldn't do it. And the batter now will be Ike Davis. For Ike Davis, an interesting night. He was 0 for 15 against left-handers. Check swing, got an infield single, and then against Beckett, hits one out of town. That was 453 feet. So 2 out, 2-0 Bucks. McCutchen at first, a threat to steal. Certainly Wilson thinks so. McCutchen is a perfect 7 for 7 in stolen bases. Foul back. 0-1 the count. Dodgers have used Beckett, Mahalam, Perez, and now Wilson. Beckett allowed 2 runs in his 5 innings. Oh and 1. 1-1. He paid attendance tonight. Nice crowd on a lovely evening. 47,503. 47,503. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 8th inning, they'll be facing Mark Melanson. Melanson will be facing Figgins, Puig, and Ramirez. Two and 1. J.P. Howell moving around now in the Dodger bullpen. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ball 3. So if you're J.B. Howell down there in the pen, you're thinking, I will get Pedro Alvarez if they call me in. Meanwhile, Russell Martin waits, and then it's Alvarez's turn. 3 balls and 1 strike, 2 out. McCutchen not going on strike 2. Butera has made a couple of great throws. He nailed Martin in the 2nd inning, nailed Harrison in the 5th inning, and picked off Marte at second base in the 3rd inning. So Drew Butera has had a terrific job defensively, and it's still 2-0 Pittsburgh. Runner goes, chopper to the right side to Gordon, and that'll be that. So D's play on the ball hit by Walker was huge, and the inning is over. No runs, no hits, a man left, and at the end of 7 1/2, 2-0 Pittsburgh. Friends, don't miss Hello Kitty bobblehead night. That's Tuesday. Dodgers and White Sox at 7:10. First 50,000 fans in attendance take home a mini Hello Kitty bobblehead for their collection. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. Mark Melanson coming in out of Wheat Ridge, Colorado. Lives in Golden, Colorado. 6'2", 215. 29 years old. Was originally signed by the Yankees out of the University of Arizona. Yankees picked him in the 9th round. Arizona, he was remarkable. He pitched in 29 games and helped the Wildcats to the College World Series. Sean Figgins ran into his own bunt, lined out, and walked. Takes a strike. Melanson had Tommy John surgery. He used the time wisely. He went back to the university, completed 21 credit hours, and earned his degree. And another strike, 0-2. If you're going to have to rehab, Melanson is a wise man to show that he went back to school while rehabbing. No balls, 2 strikes. Slow curve, foul ball. Oh, 2 to Sean Figgins, trying to start something here. Dodgers running out of time. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Fastball missed. Melanson's a kind of a fella that he went to the Yankee Academy in the Dominican Republic and moved in with a Dominican teammate so he could learn about the country and learn about the language. That's going to be a flare, and it will drop. So the Dodgers have done it again. They get the leadoff man on. 6 out of 8. It hasn't helped them one bit, which really is a shock. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Pirates. No runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. Puig struck out with Gordon at second in the first inning. Led off the 4th with an infield single. Struck out with the bases loaded in the 5th. On deck, Hanley Ramirez. And a little roller. Melanson fires in time. Figgins down to second base. So it's been a rare night indeed for Yasiel Puig. He went 1 for 4 and did not hit the ball out of the infield. Just another lesson learned, and here's Hanley Ramirez. Hanley struck out twice and then led off the 6th inning with a double. But that's rather remarkable. The Dodgers getting the leadoff man 6 out of 8 innings. There's the Hanley trademark. Haven't seen much of that at all this year. So Figgins at second base. Ramirez trying to pick him up. J.P. Howell and Kenley Jansen. The score, I'm sure, will determine who will come in to pitch the ninth. Fastball whacked into right center, and the Dodgers finally get a run on a long single to right center field on a fastball here in the 8th inning. So for Clint Hurdle, everything worked up until now here in the 8th inning. Take another look. Hanley drives it into the gap in right center. Nice fielding play. Snyder comes over to hold it to a single. Nothing he could do about Figgins. So Matt Kemp. Clem flied to right, struck out, grounded out, 0 for 3. Well, Sean Figgins got a rare start, winds up with a walk, a single, and a run scored. Ramirez with his second hit, and 1 run batted in. And ball 1.
That's a picture, huh? One and one to Matt. Kemp looking for his first hit in the series. Matt's 0 for 7. Hanley at first, 1 out, run in. 2-1 Pittsburgh, bottom of the 8th. Little roller, backhanded. Hesitation in the out at first. Melanson was thinking about going to second and then opted to go to first. So Kemp hits back to the box. 2 out in the 8th inning. And instead of Scott Van Slyke, no surprise here, Adrian Gonzalez coming up. So Gonzalez coming up, the crowd recognizes him. The at bat for Van Slyke. Scott was 0 for 3. They haven't announced him, but here he comes, and everybody knows who it is. Adrian batting .265. He has 12 home runs, 36 runs batted in. 1 more home run than Puig, but 4 less RBIs at 40. Now they announce him, and the crowd lets loose. So Melanson working against Gonzalez. Ramirez the tying run at second base. 2 out. Neil Walker a good 10 feet out on the grass in right field. Ball 1. It's always fun when you have a really good hitter like Gonzalez to watch where the catcher sets up. And Martin will be very busy behind the plate. He'll set up after this is over. Not moving at all. Ground ball directly to short. That'll be that. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left. And at the end of 8, it's 2-1 Pittsburgh. Your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB TV game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or be sure to visit Dodgers.com today. Adrian Gonzalez, a brief pinch hit appearance, now takes over defensively at first base. For the Dodgers, a number that would make the hitters groan. The Dodgers today, with runners in scoring position, are just 2 for 15 with 7 strikeouts. And Melanson had held opponents to 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Ramirez finally got through with a base hit to drive in a run. So we figured when Howell was warming up with Jansen, the score would indicate who would be coming in. So since they're still losing, JP will take over. Strike to Russell Martin. Martin, Alvarez, and Marte. Martin singled, grounded to third, and walked. Josh Beckett went 5 and gave up 2 runs. One of them a home run to Ike Davis. 0-2. Jason Gurley was called in last night to close, made 15 pitches, and Gurley is up in the pen, getting ready for the 9th inning to try and shut the Dodgers down. Martin 1 for 2. Bounce that thing. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Scoring very quiet. The run in the 3rd, hit batter and a walk, a pickoff, 2 singles, and 1 run for Pittsburgh. Ike Davis a home run in the 4th. That accounts there too. And the Dodgers worked and produced 1 in the 8th inning. So we're in the 9th. Two and two. Been a lot of pitchers in the game, and that usually works the mound into a tough condition. And for Howell, he's the 5th Dodger pitcher and the 9th pitcher to come in. So he's inherited a little bit of a battlefield out there. He's had a lot of trouble with his last 2 pitches in the landing area on the downslope. See how he makes on this pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Little chopper to third. Sean Figgins. That does it for Martin. So 1 out, top of the 9th. Pedro Alvarez coming up.
Coming to the plate, third baseman, Pedro Alvarez.
Pedro Alvarez flied to center, struck out, flied to center again. Pedro Alvarez in the neighborhood of Washington Heights, same area that produced Manny Ramirez in New York. Ball 1. Of course, it's kind of interesting how neighborhoods change. When I was a kid growing up in Washington Heights, it was probably 95% Jewish, many of whom
were refugees from Europe escaping Hitler. Since that time, the area has become very Hispanic, and it's produced some wonderful players. Washington Heights, an area the one side, the east side of the George Washington Bridge. Two balls and no strikes. Foul tip. 2-1. Alvarez looks like a home run hitter. 6'3", 235 pounds. Last 2 years, he's hit 66 home runs for Pittsburgh. And as we mentioned earlier, he is so good, they're talking about when they're going to trade him. Ironic. But they figure he's going to make so much money and demand so much money at the end of 2016 that they better get rid of him beforehand. That's just another part of this game, isn't it? Wow. He's so good, you're going to have to trade him because he'll be too expensive. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pedro got away from Washington Heights. He went to school at Vanderbilt University. 2-2 to Pedro Alvarez. Ball 3. Dodgers put up the fence on the right side. Hanley Ramirez all alone on the left in a crouch. And a fly ball playable. Puig is there. Two down in the 9th inning. Starling Marte coming up. He was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd inning. Took second on a walk. Drew Butera picked him off in the 3rd inning. Next time up in the 4th, he struck out. And the last time up, grounded to short. When the Dodgers bat in the 9th inning, they are due to have Ethier, Butera, and then the pitcher's spot. One ball and 1 strike. Since the 5th inning, the Bucks have had a check swing single by the left-hand hitting Ike Davis, where there was really no one able to field it. Ramirez, the only one at short, tried to come in to get it, but didn't pay off. That one single is the only one they've had since the 5th inning, but they're holding on to what is now a 2-1 lead. Tried to lift that breaking ball, couldn't do it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. JP does that, almost touching the ground before a lot of pitches to keep his back loosened, and the The hamstring's looser. Not every single pitch, but he does it an awful lot. There you go. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And ball 4. So Marte gets aboard with a 2-out walk here in the 9th. That'll bring up Clint Barmes. Clint Barmes has walked, scored a run, grounded to third, and struck out. And a strike. That little guy behind home plate, directly behind the hitter. He's been constantly in motion, but it's now 10:23. You can see the top of there. There he is. Every now and then he'll pop up. Little tranquilizer in his mouth. There he is. Yeah, he's still got some beans left in him. It's been a long night. Little wiggle worm at this hour. 0-1 the count to Clint Barmes. Slow breaking ball, beauty. 0-2. Howell really gets his back into those pitches. And I'm sure that's one reason why he stretches before every pitch, to stay loose. To repeat, when the Dodgers come up in the bottom of this 9th inning, Andre Ethier, Drew Gutierrez, and then the pitcher spot, Howell. Ethier is 1 for 3, a double. Gutierrez 1 for 3, a single. Among others in the dugout, we have Arbarena and Tim Fedorovich. And of course, you rarely use your backup catcher until the very last out. So Arbarena might still be seen. Oh, 2. And chases a fastball, and down he goes. Nice bit of work for JP. No runs, no hits, a man left. And we're heading to the bottom of the 9th, 2-1 Pittsburgh. Ninth inning, 2-1 Pittsburgh. And for the Dodgers, they'll be facing the closer from last night, Jason Grilli. Grilli in the ninth inning last night, among other things, gave up a double to Justin Turner, but survived the inning. Pirates won that game 6-3. So now here's Jason Grilli, and he'll be facing Andre Ethier. It's always a nice story to repeat. Interesting that his dad, Steve, made his major league debut September 19, 1975. His son, Jason Grilli, made his major league debut September the 19th, 2005. So 30 years later, the exact same day, the son appeared like the dad in his major league debut. And ball one to Andre Ethier. Andre fouled out, doubled, and struck out. And a strike, 1-1. A broken bat and a ground ball to Neil Walker, and one out. So Andre Ethier sees the bat come apart, and that'll bring up Drew Gutierrez unless they go to a hitter. Tim Fedorovich is on deck, so you have back-to-back catchers coming up.
Drew Gutierrez.
Gutierrez singled to center, flied to right, and struck out. Drew hitting 208. So the story's almost written. The catcher who caught the no-hitter from Liriano, the same catcher who caught the no-hitter from Josh Beckett, and both Beckett and Liriano go head-to-head tonight. Gutierrez behind the plate. A lot of memories must have gone through his head. Drew just trying to get out any way he can against Jason Grilli. Grilli's big, 6'4", and fastball foul back. 6'4", 225. Been pitching a long time. Started at Shreveport in 1998. He had been signed by the Giants off the campus of Seton Hall University. We mentioned last night his nickname has been Grilled Cheese with Grilli, and he's now, as I understand it, opened a restaurant in Orlando that features, you guessed it, grilled cheese. One and two. Fastball missed. Two balls, two strikes. Fastball sliced to right. Snyder comes up and backhands it for the second out. Interesting thing, a bit of philosophy from Jason Grilli. Grilli says usually we say you play for the name on the front of your uniform and not for the name on the back. For me, the name on the back is the reason why I can play for the name on the front. In memory, of course, of his dad.
And ball one. Yasiel Puig went to school tonight. Did not hit a ball out of the infield. And came up several times with men in scoring position, including the biggest at-bat of the night. That was the 5th inning. Dodgers had the bases loaded with 2 out. Just the mention of Puig's name brought the crowd to an uproar, and he struck out. One ball and 1 strike. Fastball, pop foul, out of play upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes to FedEx, as they call him, Tim Fedorovich. So the Pirates, after losing 9 in a row here, are on the edge of beating the Dodgers 2 straight. And they're not finished. Game tomorrow and a game Sunday. 2-2 the count. Well, Martin certainly hopped around to set the target off the plate. Ike Davis, meanwhile, hit the big home run in the 4th inning. That's now the difference in the game. 2-1 Pittsburgh. 2 out, 9th inning. Fastball. Fedorovich is the 3rd pinch hitter used by the Dodgers. Gordon on deck. Gonzalez grounded out. Turner struck out. And here's FedEx. Adrian made 1 appearance, and that was in the 8th inning. And that does it. Kind of a fitting picture, as the last out is the Dodgers striking out. For the Dodgers to lose 2 in a row to Pittsburgh. The Bucks 2 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. And the Dodgers 1 run, 7 hits, and 1 error. The player of the game, or play of the game would be a better way to put it, would be D. Gordon, who made a remarkable stop and somehow turned it into a double play. That was in the 8th inning on a ball hit by D. Walker. Somehow he got thing over there to Hanley Ramirez. That was remarkable, but it wasn't good enough to win. So the Pirates beat the Dodgers again, 2-1. And they'll take the field again tomorrow. Till then, we'll wish you all a very pleasant good evening.